the thing in my speech in the European Parliament, which incidentally, this might astonish you, my producer told me this, if you add up this and add up that and look at that channel and this channel and all the rest of it, has got over 50 million views. 50 million, I think it's still a record in the chamber. It's only 2 minutes as well, because you're not allowed to speak for more than 2 minutes, broadly speaking, and that was on fractional reserve banking. So I called this out maybe 15 years ago, 14 years ago, and everything I said then is coming true. Not because I'm a very clever fellow, I'm not. It's just because it was so blindingly bloody obvious what was going to happen. Right. So I thought what we could do is kick it around. You know, what is money? Money isn't taught in schools. Nobody, you don't,
is it?
You know, don't teach money in schools. So people have a really odd idea of what money actually is. And I can start off, I think, with a quote from J.P. Morgan, which is 1912. His quote was, only gold is money. Everything else is credit. And he was right then, he's right now. And that's what people don't always fully understand. And of course, the people who understand it least are consecutive chancellors of the exchequer. Politicians don't understand money and economics. They just don't get it. And they haven't. The last chancellor we had who really was any good was Lawson, who understood it. But nobody else really has. So
you ever see Janet Yellen talking about the nature of inflation and things? It's mind-boggling.
I know, it's absolutely fascinating. Of course, we've got a Chancellor of the Exchequer now, Rachel Reeves. I've shared a platform before now on Any Questions, I think it was. Is a hero. She's a hero. Janet Yellen is a hero to Rachel Reeves. And Janet Yellen is so screamingly wrong about everything. It gives me sort of the shivers. But if you look at money, what is money? How would you define money? You might say, well, first of all, it's got to be an accepted medium of exchange. Right.
So that could be anything. That could be a stick with notches on it, a tally stick, couldn't it?
It could. And funny you should say that. You might know why you're leading me onto the guns here, but the Sumerians used tally sticks for 200 years. So tally sticks were actually used, and it's the only thing that I know of historical money which hasn't had an intrinsic value. And that is really weird. So there's no intrinsic value, so it was a sort of forerunner perhaps of Bitcoin, I don't know. But so the tally sticks of the Sumerians. But
I was reading something the other day, they were still using tally sticks in the age of Henry II and King John.
Yes, they were. But
of course there was money as money as well. But
yes, it was back, that was an accounting system rather than money. It was an accounting system. But yeah, these things are all fascinating. But if you've got, if you go back to moving on from the Sumerians to go on to the Greek drachma, for example, which was real money, silver, and then you go on to the Roman Empire, and you have the denarius and stuff like this. Is your field, of course.
I've been doing a thing on Crassus recently. They often talk about talents in that.
Yes.
Talents of silver, talents of gold.
Yes. That, and of course that then brings you, that's hard money, that's real money, silver coin or gold coin, and silver coin's fine too because it's a precious metal, and that makes it right. And then of course, and now I'm drifting into your subject again here, what actually brought down the Roman Empire, they did two things, of course. They degraded their currency by putting alloy in it, so the denarius was degraded by alloy, and of course they couldn't defend their borders. Now, here's a wonderful historical feature of this, is that if you degrade your currency and can't protect your borders, your empire collapses, and we are seeing that now. Right. Big style, we're seeing that in America in particular, and we're seeing it on a smaller scale in Europe. So this is the sort of problem we have. Then if you fast forward your coins to Henry VIII, and Henry VIII clipped coins as well, so he to fight wars, and he clipped coins and debased the currency, and of course he was followed by the formation of the bank under Queen Elizabeth I, Thomas Gresham, on the famous economic thing, good money forces out bad, and of course we've had Gresham actually put that right by making the money right. So we saw the degradation of money. If you counterfeited money in the Middle Ages, the punishment was to have you had your hands chopped off. They actually chopped off. This is in England, by the way. They chopped off your hands for counterfeiting money. And of course, I'll come on to that in a minute.
There's a story from either Edward I or Edward III. I can't quite remember, but they found out that the Royal Mint was sort of debasing the money, and a lot of people lost their hands and or lives.
Yes. And of course, the first man,
crime.
the Royal Mint, and it was Isaac Newton that took over the first Royal Mint and started to get, the old ducks in a row, as it were.
As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I'll automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.